As well, Rangers play host to the Ducks, Jets, and Red Wings from Winnipeg. I'm Jay Berman.
We're the all-new CBS Sports Radio Network, and you can reach out to us on Facebook at facebook.com/CBS Sports Radio. CBS.
Welcome to The Cage. Live, local sports talk for the Twin Tiers. If you can compete in it, we're talking about it. Put your rage in the cage by calling 716-376-WVTT or emailing cage@colonialme.com. Welcome to The Cage on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
Welcome. Another Monday here. Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT, The Mouth, The Cage, ready to go. 716-376-9888. Those are the magical digits to dial. You want to get in here on the show. So many things to talk about. Preview, unbelievable game for the Buffalo Bills yesterday. Also want to mention you want to get at me on Twitter, @_ Joel the Mouth. You want to do that there. Social media is huge. That's where it's at. Remember also, tomorrow night, we will be live at the Riley Center for the Bonnie's Pep Rally from 7 to 9. We'll be talking to players, coaches, students, highlighting and previewing this upcoming A-10 season for the St. Bonaventure Bonnies. It's a live, free event for the public, so make sure you come and support your Bonnies basketball. Be down there tomorrow from 7 to 9 live. That is correct. Before we get to the Bills, and by the way, today at 5:20, Chris Trapasso of BleacherReport.com, featured Bills writer and also does some Bills stuff for Yahoo Sports and all kinds of other stuff. He'll be joining the show at 5:20 to recap this Bills and Chiefs game that we had yesterday. But before we get to that, there's something out there right now, and this story just gets more and more disturbing by the minute. And if you're not familiar with this story, let me catch you up. Over the weekend, before the Thursday game that the Miami Dolphins had against the Cincinnati Bengals, we had heard something about Jonathan Martin, not making the trip, not going to be with the team. He's going to be out for emotional reasons. So sometimes there are things happen. You're an athlete. Emotion gets the best of you sometimes. You have issues, just like everyone else. You deal with your issues. You deal with everything like that. But it turns out to be, and it was first reported by Adam Schefter at ESPN, that it was actually a bullying event. Bullying going on in the NFL locker room by one specific individual. That individual, Richie Incognito. So what it turns out to be is this thing is huge, massive, on a scale like we have never seen before. And it makes you wonder, you always hear about this rookie hazing and, the mistreatment of rookies, but this takes it to another level. Jonathan Martin, got called racial epithets. He got death threats to him. And check this out. He had to pay for things he did not even participate in. They were using this kid last year as a rookie and continue on this year as their own personal ATM, especially Richie Incognito. Jonathan Martin had to pay $13,000 for a trip to Vegas that he didn't even go on. He had to foot a $30,000 bill for a team dinner. It's a disgrace. There is a sign over Richie Incognito's locker in the locker room that says, "I hate two things, taxes and rookies." I mean, I get it. I understand you're a rookie. You got to pay your dues. You got to earn respect in the NFL, in any organization. I do. I understand it. I get it. But this is unbelievable. And then there are some morons, some idiots, who are saying, how do you let this happen? You're a pro athlete. You're 300 pounds. You're massive. Just go punch him in the face. It's not as easy as that. Getting over bullying when you're scared, when you're nervous, it's not as easy as just defending yourself. You feel that way for a reason. And, that reason was he was getting death threats. This guy Incognito is just a scumbag. I've talked to him. I know other people have talked to him. He seemed like a nice guy, but in the office we were talking about it, the incidents at Oregon, the incident when he was with St. Louis. There was a lot of things about this guy that just stood out and said the word scumbag. And one of the girls in the office even said, "Oh my God, that guy looks like he's just a moron, an idiot. Scary." Like he would do something wrong to somebody, and the truth is, he's a jackass. That's the truth. He takes advantage of people, and that is not right. And the NFL is doing the right thing here by investigating this, and my hats go off to the Dolphins for completely cutting ties with this moron. Completely. This guy, and I quote here, and this is via our friend who we had on the show, the Big O, he will never play, and here it is, it says it right here, he will never play in the Dolphins uniform ever again. And as a matter of fact, for bullying and taking advantage of people, I hope he never plays in the NFL again. You know, to treat somebody like that at this age, you're not high school kids, you're not college kids. You know, you're adults at this point. Have respect for others. I get it. You want to make them wear a dress? Fine. You want to make them carry stupid SpongeBob backpacks? Fine. And, you know, if you remember when the Dolphins were on the Hard Knocks, so what? You want to dye their hair? Fine. There is a certain understanding that comes when you're a professional athlete and you're a rookie in the league, you're going to get hazed. And that's understood. There's an unwritten law that says I'm a rookie, I have to pay my dues. But there is a line. There is a limit. And Richie Incognito had crossed that beyond belief. It is disgusting. It is despicable. And if it's going on anywhere else in the NFL, it needs to be addressed immediately. 716-376-9888, the magical digits to dial. You want to get on that. @_ Joe the Mouth, the other way to get to us on Twitter. Facebook.com/sportsradio939 WVTT. Cage @ colonialme.com. I know, right? So many ways to get in with the show. No reason you shouldn't become a part of the show, man. I'm very much encouraging you guys to pick up the phone, to send an email, send a tweet. We'll be here to take all your calls, answer all your questions here. So let's get to it. The Buffalo Bills, 13. The Kansas City Chiefs, 23. You know, where do we start? You want to start with the fact that the Bills outgained the Chiefs 2-1. 470 yards to 210 yards. The Bills ran 77 plays. Kansas City ran 54 plays. The Bills averaged just about 6 yards per play, while the Chiefs averaged under 4 plays, under 4 yards a play. I mean, it's baffling. If you're sitting there watching the game, I'm sitting there, I'm watching the game, and, you know, you have in your mind, in your eyes, you're like, oh, man, this game is going great. The Bills are off to a great start. Jeff Toole, not too bad. You see some stuff from C.J. Spiller that electrifies you. You see the down-the-field plays. You're like, man, they took one shot, didn't get it. But guess what? They came back and got another shot down the field and got a touchdown. Then the Bills happened. As much as you want to give credit, and we'll get to the Kansas City Chiefs here in a minute, but the Bills again happened to themselves. Now, don't go out there and tell me and say, well, Mouth, this is all on Jeff Toole. No, it is not. If you are blaming this solely on the play of Jeff Toole, then I tell you, my friend, you must have been watching a different game than I was watching. Was Jeff Toole perfect? No. He made some mistakes, granted. He missed Robert Woods in the end zone. He overthrew a ball that was intercepted. He made that, egregious error on the goal line, looking directly at the guy the whole way and then throwing the pick six to Sean Smith. Egregious mistakes. But Jeff Toole was solely not to blame for this entire loss. There were 6 drops by Bills receivers. 6. There was 2 by Scott Chandler. There was 1 by Goodwin, 1 by Choice, 1 by Easley, and then there was this one baffling mistake where Chandler and Goodwin both dropped it. Goodwin seemed to tip it to Chandler, and he still couldn't catch it. So you look at that, and you can say to yourself, well, the Bills had every chance to win this game. The Bills should have won this game. They should have. And now you sit here on the other side, and you say, well, Mal, 241 rushing yards. C.J. Spiller had 116 yards. Fred Jackson had 77. The O-line stepped it up. They didn't have any sacks. And we got a caller on the line. Let's bring him on right now. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Olean.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Okay, I watched some glimpses of the game, the Bills game.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this. T.J. Graham needs to know how to put a ball away. You don't put it on your side and carry it like it's a loaf of bread or whatever and allow the defensive man to punch it out.
No.
The guy, as far as I'm concerned, they've had trouble with him. The articles I've read and stuff, he just doesn't know how to put a ball away. That cost him 6. The pick 6 is the thing. Yeah, that is on Toole. He had Johnson wide open over the middle. That is not a rookie mistake. That's a plain mistake. He should look at his receivers. From where he came, Division I, he should be able to see those receivers spread out. And Johnson was just, I don't know. I mean, as soon as the interception was taken, I mean, you seen Johnson just in disgust, just go down, turn his back, and just go down. I mean, that was ridiculous. That was on Toole. But for the most part, no. Chandler dropped the ball where the announcer said it looked like he was trying to bat it away with 2 hands rather than try and catch it. And they just, I guess you would just call it ineptitude. Yeah. But yeah, the one was on Toole, and it wasn't so much for staring down the guy at the goal line as much as take a look around, which, yeah, you shouldn't stare him down. Take a look around at your other receivers. And the other one was Graham. That was atrocious. Take that ball and just put it under your arm like you're covering it with your wing instead of tucking it away. That was really dumb. Yeah, so I'll let you comment on that.
Well, absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time to make the call, man. And, you really look at it, and he makes some great points. As much as Toole was looking at the wide receiver, he's right. He's a Division I guy. He should have had more field vision or vision cone. Remember you playing Madden? And you had, in 2006, they had the vision cone. Well, he limited his vision to one specific area, and he shouldn't have. Caller's right. Absolutely. And Graham absolutely needs to learn how to hold on to the ball, because that play on top of the 100-yard pickoff return definitely set the tone. It was a momentum changer. There was a couple other plays that just stood out. The big play he mentioned, the Graham fumble after the reception. And as much as you want to sit here and say that the Chiefs aren't a good team, and they're not. And because the Cowboys won yesterday, they're 5-4. They are the only team with a winning record that the Chiefs have beaten. That's the truth. And, you look at the Bills and you say, well, they had the perfect game plan. They were able to stop Jamal Charles. They were able to limit the passing game of the Chiefs. And a lot of other things happen like this. And you say, the second straight week, the Bills did a spectacular job limiting the running back here. But I just don't understand. And the caller brought up a good thing about Jeff Toole. The first time he saw action in a regular season game, it was a tough situation for him. And I understand that. That was the first time. This time around, Toole had all the preparation. And, early on he did catch the Chiefs by surprise. But something happened. Something happened to Jeff Toole that said, oh, man, a light switched on. I'm a rookie. I'm going to make mistakes. Thad Lewis wasn't making those mistakes. So I understand that people want to put the blame solely on him, but it was definitely a widened approach here. Everyone on that Bills team except 2 people a few people, and we'll put in some bright spots. 716-376-9888, the magical digits to dial. You got something to say about the atrocious loss, the Bills losing to themselves, really. And you put it and I'll put it to you that way. The Bills lost to themselves 17-13 because the 3 mistakes that they had that hugely turned this game around led to 17 points. Even without the Kansas City Chiefs getting the 3 field goals, the Bills would have still beat themselves. The 17 points off the turnovers. So I'll look at it that way. The Chiefs didn't win. The Bills beat the Bills 17-13. That's really the truth of the matter. 716-376-9888. As I said, get in on this here if you got something to say about the Buffalo Bills. There is a few bright spots. I don't want to sit here and harp on all the negatives. There are a few bright spots. The offensive line had its best performance of the entire season. The Chiefs, the team leading the NFL in sacks by a large margin over the Buffalo Bills, had no sacks. The running game was opened up for an enormous amount of running space, 241 total yards. C.J. Spiller, as much as he looked explosive, and I give him his credit for that, the man is still not 100%. I would truly be careful moving forward with him. I would, because there was, at times, when he finished the run, he kind of looked hobbling. He wasn't really himself at certain times, but he did get 116 yards. So, you look at that. And you say, hey, great job by Spiller. So, the defense played a tremendous game as well. So there are some positives coming out of this. But again, A team that's 3-6, a team in 13 years who you guys here in Western New York have suffered with, there are no more moral victories. But you have to put out the blame specifically. You cannot blame it on an individual, and I don't want to hear it gets blamed on the coach either. Because what the coaching staff has done, they came up with a game plan. They came up with a way to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And what happened? The coaches don't play the games on the field. The coaches get you ready to play the games yourself. Execution lands solely on the team, not the coach. So any of you morons out there blaming Doug for, oh, well, he shouldn't have challenged that. They weren't offensive ready. They weren't this. They weren't that. No. The blame solely goes on the players for this bad game. The coaching staff gets an A+ for the way that they put this plan together to beat the Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs 13-6. The Buffalo Bills, again, I will repeat this, beat themselves 17-13, period. Got to pay the bills. Take a first break. 716-376-9888 on a Manic Monday here. Recapping the Bills. We'll be right back.
Disagree with us? Put your rage in the cage. Call in right now and tell us what you think. Call 716-376-WVTT or email your questions or input to cage@colonialme.com. The Cage will return on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
If you're a business owner like me, whether you own a small shop or a large corporation, when it comes to building a new facility, you know it, the process can be overwhelming. Anthem Steel has a high-quality solution for almost any size building you need. Churches, schools, or gymnasiums. So call us right now for a free quote. 877-247-1584, 877-247-1584, 877-247-1584.
Do you have a debt problem? Well, now you can finally do something about those collection calls. You can only avoid your mail and the phone for so long. That's why you need to call the Debt Solutions Network. We have agents standing by right now to assist you with your debt problems. Credit card debt, collection accounts, medical bills, and repossessions. Call now for relief.
800-814-5077. That's 800-814-5077. Not available in all states.
Health insurance is on everyone's mind right now. You either don't have it, or you have it and you think it's too expensive, and you probably feel like you don't have any options. We can help. We are InSphere Insurance Solutions. We offer health insurance plans from major carriers nationwide, and likely to have a plan that can save you money. Whether you're self-employed, on a COBRA plan that's about to expire, or you simply don't have health insurance where you work and you need it, InSphere Insurance Solutions can help you. Our agents will help you find coverage you can afford. InSphere Insurance Solutions is an authorized agency in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. Plans may not be available in all states.
877-495-1053, 877-495-1053, 877-495-1053, 877-495-1053.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now.
800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT weather is brought to you by TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. Get half-off deals from local businesses when you visit TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. As we head into the evening, get ready, party cloudy. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 20s. Tuesday should be a mostly sunny day with a high of around 50. Get ready, mostly cloudy and milder. Tuesday night on low 36. Wednesday looks to be a partly to mostly sunny day with a high of around 60. Again, overnight, low in the mid to upper 20s. And I'm Chief Forecaster Rod Tanner on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
You gotta love the mouth in the cage on Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. Shabba-na-ba-ba-na.
Right here, The Cage, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT, 716-376-9888, the magical digits to dial. You want to get in on the show talking Bills beating the Bills themselves. Well, technically the Chiefs beat the Bills, but if you saw the game, you know what I'm talking about. If you have something to say, please, like I said, call the show. Another big talking point here, and we'll get to, I want to mention a little bit about the Chiefs here in a minute, but the big other thing was it a catch? Normally in a tight game with a questionable ruling on the field, the referees do a good job of getting the calls right. I mean, even if you do have to go to review it, to check out to see if it was right, normally the call was rather an unpopular one in front of the hometown crowd. I heard it on the TV, and one of the guys here at the office, Cameron, was at the game, sitting in the family section, being quiet, being respectful, and when that call happened and it didn't go the hometown team's way, he went off. He went off. Now, the non-catch call and the confirmation of it, it wasn't hard to argue with. A lot of people, once you saw the replay, if you were there, it was tough. They said, they showed it about 100 times. But here's what Coach said. I thought it was a catch all the way. I really did. I saw him bounce. I saw it in his hand. I struggle sometimes. I'd love for someone to tell me what the definition of a catch is. He bounced once, and he had it. Second time he bounced, he didn't. I was told that the first time he bounced, that's when he lost the ball. Now, when it comes to what a catch is and what isn't a catch, the NFL does at times, they make it up when they go along, right? I mean, regardless of what it would have done for the Bills, that was the wrong call. And, I look it up, and I'm reading the NFL rules, and, the way Coach explains it, he did have it. That first football move going to the ground, he had it. He did have it. So why did they really look at the second move? Why isn't it? And unless I read the NFL rule book wrong, when you go to the ground, if you have possession, the ball's not being, the ground's not causing a fumble. The ground's not doing anything wrong. He wasn't really juggling it. Going down to the ground, I guess, is a football move. But if it only takes one move to be considered a football move, what on earth is the second move in being considered during this review? I don't get it. So was it a catch? Was it a catch? I don't know. Goodwin pinned the ball against his shoulder and helmet. Did the ball move when he initially made contact with the ground? Yes. Did the ball touch the ground because of the movement? No. After the ball originally moved, you look at it, Goodwin did restabilize it and even rolled over with it in the same spot. And you look at it, and it was after his momentum had stopped that they took the ball out of his hand. I mean, would the Bills have got a touchdown? Would the Bills have, something different have changed? I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. I'm not really sure. But it was a momentum-defining play. And I think, the NFL needs to clearly define exactly, specifically, what they want to be a catch. Because if your ineptitude of calling a rule is changing games, then something needs to be done about it. 716-376-9888. Was it a catch? Was it not a catch? Does the NFL need to clearly define the rules? What do you think? You can tweet at me, too, @_ Joel the Mouth. You can tweet at me at over there, too. My man Joseph Duraku tuning in again on the TuneIn radio app. Big shout-out to you. Big shout-out to my man Dennis M. Sending out retweets, favoring tweets. We always point out our listeners and our followers here on the show, so I appreciate you guys staying in contact with the show, sending out retweets, favoriting tweets. I really appreciate it. Big shout out to my man Tyler Moore. He's a big Jets fan, unfortunately. We'll get to some of the Jets stuff later here in the show. And, another good thing here is I was looking at some of the stuff, and I went back, and I was contemplating the game, and you really look at it. And I like to sometimes think about who an MVP is and who let the people down, who's the least valuable player. You really look at it. And, the standout to me, as well as the offensive line played, and they played really, really well to not allow a sack by the most prolific sacking team in the NFL. I think the defensive line stood out to me. I mean, throughout the game, the efforts, helped the Bills to keep it close. Kyle Williams, Darius, Jerry Hughes, Mario Williams all stood out. They limited the Chiefs' offense to the 3 field goals. 3 stinking field goals. That is it. The Chiefs, and this is the truth. Statistically, the Chiefs are the only team in the NFL history of the unbeaten teams to get to 9-0, go to get the 9th win without scoring an offensive touchdown. Without scoring it. And you really look at it and you're like, wow, is that true? That's the truth. Kansas City is doing it, straight up on defense. And, as much as I could sit here and we could sit here and tell you, we, as Bills fans, we all know why the Bills lost. They beat themselves. Jeff Toole made a few mistakes. They didn't execute when they needed to execute. And that's why the Bills are still in a rebuilding process. And, this was a good game. This was another winnable game. And I think that's the most frustrating things for Bills fans, especially this year. In years previous, you could say, hey, this team sucked. It was garbage. We had no business doing it. But this year, you have had every business, every opportunity, every right to be in almost every single game you have played in. It's just as easy. The Bills could be the team 9-0. Well, minus the game against the Saints, but 8-1. The game against the Browns got away from them. This Bills team, and like I said, I know it's hard, and I'm tired of you guys are all tired of the moral victories and the morality of a team rebuilding, but that's the truth. You have a coaching staff coaching this team in the right direction. Think about how many starting quarterbacks did you start this season with NFL experience? There have been a total of 3 starting quarterbacks. One quarterback had NFL experience previous to the start of the year. And yes, I know it's only 3 victories, but your defense is a staple. And the Chiefs are proving something right here for all you Bills fans. The Chiefs are the proof of the pudding. If you get a stout defense, you don't need offense. Remember the Ravens winning a Super Bowl. You can remember certain teams with great defense with not the greatest offense winning a Super Bowl. It happens. Great defense in the NFL, really great defense in the NFL can win you games. And think about this. And granted, the Chiefs, and there's a lot being said about how this is the worst undefeated team in the history of the NFL, and I can't disagree here. But the thing is, you beat the teams on your schedule. You beat the teams put in front of you. And think about this. The last 5 Super Bowl winners, their average, yards per game allowed was 331.7. Their average turnovers given up, taken away, 18.6. Look at the Chiefs this year. They have given up 326.9 yards per game, and they have 23 turnovers. 23. And Alex Smith, another astounding stat is his win-loss record since he was a starter. It's an amazing percentage. And I'm not sitting here telling you that Alex Smith is a great quarterback. He's, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. You don't have to be. If you have a team like the Chiefs who have not allowed more than 17 points to any opponent this entire season. Remember, let me bring up this little brief piece of history. When the Ravens won the Super Bowl against the Giants, who was their quarterback? 716-376-9888. I know the answer. I'm sure many people know. They're like, it's on the tip of their tongue, but they don't remember. He was pathetic. If you remember, he wasn't even their starter the next year. Pathetic. And, like I said, you don't need to have a Peyton Manning sometimes. You don't need to have that guy. All you need is a defense. And Alex Smith is a great game manager. That is all you need to be able to do. Get first downs when necessary. Make a play here and there. And that's it. Not make mistakes. And that's the problem. The Bills' 3 huge mistakes led to the victory for the Chiefs. Not the great play of the Kansas City offense. And I'll tell you, and I agree with that, the offense ineptitude of the Kansas City Chiefs is blatant. Andy Reid, he's not a guy who likes to run the ball, but he's learning how to do that. Alex Smith is not a guy who's going to throw 400 yards for 7 touchdowns. He's not going to put up Peyton Manning numbers, Nick Foles numbers yesterday, which, by the way, killed in fantasy. In my league, Nick Foles had 66 points. Jeez, that was mind-blowing. Anyway. But, Tamba Hali, Smith, you look at these guys that they have on their team, and they're playing total team defense. And they're putting the game plan together to beat these teams. And like I said, it doesn't matter. I don't care if every opponent on the Chiefs' schedule had 1 or 2 victories. It doesn't matter. What matters is you're going out there, you're beating the teams in front of you. Win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter if you win by 1 or 100 points. A win is still going as a win. And that's why I understand the Chiefs aren't getting a lot of respect. But for me, defensively, they get an enormous amount of respect. To do what they're doing defensively is a testament. Again, I know it's against subpar teams in the NFL, but they're NFL teams. These are historically low numbers that the Kansas City Chiefs are allowing. Now, I know I'm sitting here and I'm telling you that, it was a winnable game for the Bills on Thursday and Friday, and it was. And Kansas City is not the greatest team. Like I said, 9 offensive points, but 17 points off of turnovers, forcing turnovers. You ask any NFL coach, you ask anyone who played in the NFL, what's grossly important? It's turnovers, it's takeaways, it's getting the ball. And, the Bills had an opportunity, by the way, if you don't remember, McKelvin tried to pick up the ball instead of falling on it. And there was another momentum thing right there. The Bills had opportunities. The Chiefs caused opportunities, and they took advantage. And any team in the NFL, to get to where you are, you take advantage of the games played. Now, coming up, it's a bye week for the Chiefs, and they got the Broncos, then someone else, then the Broncos again. So the real test for the Chiefs is coming up. I agree there. And we'll see what happens to the Chiefs. And I think they can beat the Denver Broncos once. I think in Arrowhead, the Chiefs have a good shot to beat the Broncos. I just want to see, Peyton, that defense is something else. Watching it for the first time in person yesterday, I know it was Jeff Toole, I know it was only the Buffalo Bills, but that defense is still impressive. I know they let up 470 yards, and I'm not talking number-wise, but look at the way they capitalized on the mistakes, the way they were there. They needed to make big plays happen. They found a way to make it happen. And that's been their call. 23 takeaways. 23 that's a tremendous amount. 716-376-9888. That's the magical digits to dial. 435 and counting right here on a Monday. And it's a little chilly today, I got to say. 435 and counting. It's a little chilly, man. I got up this morning to come into work. It was about 21 degrees. It's getting there. But I loved it. People are like, man, and I talk to people around town, and I tell them, I moved from Florida to come up here, and they're, what are you, crazy? And, as much as you see warm weather, 90 degrees every day for 5 straight years, it gets a little tiring. And you probably sitting there, and you lived here for a long time, you're like, man, I would kill to get 75 degrees right now this time of year. But sometimes it's not all what it's cracked up to be. That's the truth. The truth of the matter is it gets old, it gets boring, 90% humidity all the time. It's crazy. I've enjoyed the cold weather. I've enjoyed the enchanted mountain around here, the leaves changing, the beauty. I actually kind of can't wait for snow. First real snowfall of the season. I get to go build a snowman, and it'll be fun. 716-376-9888. We talked here about the Bills a little bit here at the top of the show. And at 5:20, I'll bring on my man Chris Trapasso from BleacherReport.com, feature columnist, about the Buffalo Bills to give me his take on the Buffalo Bills to see if I kind of hit the nail on the head and see if he feels that way about the Bills. If you got something to say about the bullying in the NFL, we're going to come back from the next break. We're going to talk a little bit about the Jets. I know I got some big Jet fans out there. Their win, I don't know if you call it impressive. I think certain aspects of the Jets win were impressive. And I know this will make Jet fans all giddy right now. If the season were to end today, the Jets would be in the playoffs. I don't know if that speaks to the Jets or if it speaks to how subpar the AFC is this year. So we'll talk about that, all that and much more coming up right after the break. Going to pay the bills, the mouth, the cage, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. We'll be right back.
Feeding time at the Cage. Call in right now at 716-376-WVTT or email your questions or input to cage@colonialme.com. The Cage will return on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
It's the Twin Tiers Dollar Saver Guy with this week's Twin Tiers Dollar Saver half-price deal of the week. And it's a great one. Domino's Pizza, West State Street in Olean. Wow. They have a great carry-out special Monday through Thursday with large 3-topping pizzas for only $7.99. How about their medium pan style 2 toppings, also just $7.99. I'll tell you, folks, they got a menu to die for. Domino's Pizza. What more do I need to say? Here's what we've got from Domino's Pizza on West State Street in Olean. A $20 certificate for half price, just $10. Now, look, at half price, these won't last long. You'll have to be quick. These certificates go on sale exactly 9 a.m. this Thursday morning online at twintiersdollarsaver.com. And as usual, first come, first serve at twintiersdollarsaver.com.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers' rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 800-957-6069. 800-957-6069. 800-957-6069.
This is Jeff Andrelonis, President and CEO of Colonial Media and Entertainment. You're listening to Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT, the home of Dan Patrick, Jim Rome, and CBS Sports Radio. And in time for football season, we'll be airing a local sports talk show for the afternoon drive home. We're currently interviewing potential talk show hosts. To apply, email your resume and demo to careers@colonialme.com. And of course, we're also interested in growing our base of advertisers. But the sports radio format isn't right for all advertisers. If you want to reach the unemployed, those living on food stamps, or those who are just plain lazy who want to advertise somewhere else, sports radio listeners are high-income earners. They have driving personalities, they're passionate, loyal, and they support the businesses who advertise on Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. If that's the kind of person you'd like to reach, call Tony at 716-372-9564 for more information.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS that you can't pay? Call now for immediate help. 800-910-8236. At Community Tax Relief, we help consumers like you. If you take on the IRS alone, you could be facing levies, liens, even wage garnishments, personal or business tax issues. If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more, they will aggressively come after you. Protect yourself and your family today from what the IRS can do to you. Call now. 800-910-8236. They can freeze your bank account, even garnish your wages. Our expert team of tax professionals can solve your tax problems once and for all. Call now for a free 5-minute tax debt analysis. 800-910-8236. 800-910-8236. 800-910-8236.
If you're a diabetic, you and I both know the process of testing your blood sugar levels can be painful. Well, now there's an alternative from Advanced Medical Support. Call us today to learn how you can get a state-of-the-art meter with the newest pain-free technology.
800-343-4379. 800-343-4379. For free delivery of your diabetic testing supplies, call 800-343-4379.
Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT weather is brought to you by TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. Get half off deals from local businesses when you visit TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. As we head into the evening, get ready, partly cloudy. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 20s. Tuesday should be a mostly sunny day with a high of around 50. Get ready, mostly cloudy and milder. Tuesday night on low 36. Wednesday looks to be a partly to mostly sunny day with a high of around 60. Again, overnight low in the mid to upper 20s. And I'm Chief Forecaster Rod Tanner on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
Put your rage in the cage. Call in right now and tell the Twin Tiers what you think. 716-376-WVTT. Or email your questions or input to cage@colonialme.com. The Cage on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
And we're back. Monday, The Cage, The Mouth, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT, 716-376-9888. The magical digits to dial if you want to get in here with The Mouth. @_Joel The Mouth. You want to join us on the conversation on Twitter. You could also email the show, cage@colonialme.com, facebook.com/Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. And a quick reminder again, Tuesday, tomorrow night, 7 to 9 at the Riley Center. The St. Bonaventure Bonnie Pep Rally, The Mouth, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT will be down there. I'll be talking to players, coaches, students, getting the 411, getting your opinion. Excuse me, getting your opinion, the voice of the fans about the St. Bonaventure's Bonnies basketball upcoming season. So we'll be up there from 7 to 9. Make sure you come down. The event is free to the public. It's right here in Olean at the Riley Center, St. Bonaventure Bonnie basketball. Kicking off Saturday, November 9th. This upcoming Saturday starts the regular season. I'll be down there enjoying myself, covering the games. And you'll be sure, I'll be talking to some guys every week about St. Bonaventure's. And tomorrow, all day for 2 straight hours, tomorrow night, we'll be talking about the St. Bonaventure Bonnies. So, we got a lot to do tomorrow. We got a lot to do this week. We're growing. This show is only getting better each and every week. I appreciate, I went out this weekend, and I'll tell you guys a quick story here before we get into some more NFL. I went to a bank, and I talked to somebody, and I go up, and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm Joel. I was like, I just moved here from Florida. Can you hook me up with, is there a bank that's good, or I need some information. And he's like, Joel the Mouth? I'm like, yeah, that's me. He's like, oh, my God, I love your show. Your rant on Ralston the other day was great. I appreciate it. So big shout out to my man, Justin Furman, out there at the bank. He knows who I'm talking about. He tweets me on Twitter, man. I followed him back. He's a great fan of the show. Also met a couple other people, man, talking to them in the public this weekend. Hey, you're that guy who hosts a show on the radio, right? The midday show from 4 to 6. I'm like, yeah, it's a great show. We don't have a live and local guy. It's great to hear that. So the Mouth is getting better. The show is getting better. And like I said, all you guys listening out there, owners of businesses, and you're in the community, get on board. Now's the time to do it, man. You want to talk to the Mouth, just give us a call here at the station, 716-376-9888. You guys know who I'm talking about out there. So get on the ground floor. The show is only going to go higher places. The listenership's only going to grow. So I appreciate each and every one I talked to this weekend who gave me some love on the show. And, it's much appreciated. It makes me feel good, being welcomed into this community and being back here in my home state of New York. And, I also want to, thank a good friend of mine, the Southeast producer of the show, Kevin Canessa. Puts out, an article about me, puts it out to a major website, and they put it out there. So more and more people know about it. We're on the TuneIn app. We're all over the place. So big shout out to Kevin and all the things he does for the show, so I appreciate that. So check it out, man. It's on the website. If you got the Facebook page, I put the Facebook page up there, so you guys can check out the link to the article there and see about the show. Like I said, I'm happy to be here. I love being in Olean. The Buffalo fans are passionate, loyal fans, and it's truly appreciative to be in an audience that appreciates their team. So big ups to you guys in the community and all you listeners of the show. So let's talk a little bit about the New York Football Jets. And I know this kills me. Tom and Jason and Timmy and Eric and all you guys out there who are Jet fans who live on Long Island and in the surrounding areas. 26-20. And it's a befuddling thing because, during the week, the Jets were like being choked upon. A 49-9 loss to the Bengals. But they rebounded. But they've done that every week this year. And this is a quirky little stat that I saw that I got to let you guys know about. If it's an odd-numbered week, the Jets get a win. If it's an even-numbered week, they get a loss. So I kind of what's going to happen, when, they have a bye. Is that going to count as anything? And then they play the Bills in Week 11. So I know my man Tyler he has something to say about that and the Jets beating the Bills in Week 11. I don't think it's going to happen. E.J. Manuel is going to be back, so we're going to see what happens there. But what stood out to me, and if you got something to say, you're a Jet fan out there, and you got something to say, 716-376-9888, magical digits to dial to get in here, the cage, the mouth, only on Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. But what the Jets did in the front to get to Drew Brees was unreal. Now, I know you look at the stat line and you're saying, Mouth, what are you talking about? They only got 2 sacks. But no. The pressure that they got on Brees every time he dropped back in the pocket. I mean, they were whistled for a pair of unnecessary roughness penalties. Now, one I thought was completely, utterly bogus. And I think by the reaction I saw on Twitter, all you guys out there who are Jet fans or football fans in general thought it was a bogus call, and it was. I truly believe it was a bogus call. But still, that just shows you that the Jets were there in his face doing the whole deal. I mean, there was one sequence in which the Jets forced a hold, then had a sack and a strip sack. So the Jets' front line was just unbelievable. Muhammad Wilkerson, in particular, was just dominating. He put heat on top of heat on Drew Brees, collected one of the 2 sacks. I mean, and he almost had an interception that was tipped into the air. Calvin Pace, the other guy who had the sack, forced the fumble that we were talking about. Quentin Coples. I mean, these guys were great. You see that fourth down end around they tried to pull off? It was stopped, squashed. And I'm not a big Jet fan. But truth is, credit where credit is due. And the Jets just, they just did it. I mean, granted, I got a caller on the line. We're going to bring him on the show right now. What's up? Who's this?
Hey, Joel. Tom from Jersey.
Tom, my man Tom. And I was just giving credit to your New Jersey, New York Jets, man. So were you impressed by this victory?
Well, I mean, this team this whole year has been rather impressive. I mean, it's a roller coaster up and down each week, but I didn't expect to have even this kind of success. So, I mean, this team has really impressed. The defense is just awesome, and Geno Smith, every other week, seems to learn from his mistakes, and then, of course, he reverts back the following week and throws a couple picks, but this week he did nothing wrong. He just handed the ball off, and when he had to make a couple passes, he did, and the Jets pulled off the upset of the Saints. So I am very pleased with how the Jets season has gone for the first half of the season. Now the second half of the season is coming up after the bye week here, and they are set up rather perfectly to make a run for the playoffs if they can beat the teams that are in front of them, and the teams that they have on the schedule are very beatable teams. So we'll have to see what happens.
And you mentioned a big thing, and if you were to look at it right now, you look at the paper, I'm looking at it right now, the Jets make the playoffs. They're in the playoffs right now. And is that a surprise to you that after 9 games, after, the speculation that this season wouldn't be that great, are you surprised to see the Jets at 5-4 and a playoff contender? I'm saying that's truth. A playoff contender in the AFC.
No, at this moment, the Jets would be in the playoffs. I didn't think, forget about after the first week, I thought the Jets wouldn't be in the playoffs. So to be 9 weeks in and be right there, and then to see the second half of the schedule and see the teams that you have to play and say, well, yeah, they could win that one, they could win that one, they could win that one. There's not one game on that schedule where you can't see the Jets beating the team. I mean, in the whole NFL, the way the Jets played, any probably beat anybody in the league, minus maybe a Denver or a Seattle. But those are probably the best teams in the NFL. But I mean, everyone else, they have a chance if they play the way they play with turnover-free football, and if their defense is getting after the quarterback like it was yesterday, they can pretty much beat anyone. So it's a huge surprise as a Jet fan. Going into the season, you thought, 2 weeks before the season, you thought Mark Sanchez was going to be your quarterback, and you didn't know what was going to happen there. Then Geno came in as quarterback, and you didn't expect him to have much success, and you figured Rex Ryan maybe could be fired by this point in the season, and now they're 5-4 going into their bye week. So that's a pleasant surprise as a Jet fan.
Absolutely, Tom. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. Hold on. I'll let you wrap up your thoughts. Just let me take this quick commercial break, all right? Hold on.
All right.
All right, Tom's going to wrap up his thoughts here. We're going to take a break, pay the bills, the mouth, the cage, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
The Twin Tiers only radio program guaranteed to start bar fights. Give us your opinion right now. Call 716-376-WVTT or email your questions or input to cage@colonialme.com. The Cage will return on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
Yeah. I know. Can you believe it? Okay, well, we need to get this thing started. Okay, everybody, my name is Alan Smith, and you probably heard my amazing story on how I lost 51 pounds and 6 inches without even really trying. Well, I'm the creator of the Bistrictin weight control system. No, this is not another diet pill or anything you've ever tried before. Bistrictin is an all-natural alternative to gastric bypass surgery. Just drink our liquid complex, and it's going to expand in your stomach over 50 times in size, forcing you to eat 70% less food without surgery or ever feeling hungry. In fact, you literally can't eat for 5 to 6 hours, so you can lose weight from day one, safely and naturally. And if you call in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to let you try Bistrictin completely risk-free. So you either lose weight or you don't pay a dime. But this is a special limited offer, so you gotta call now. 1-800-499-9126. That's 1-800-499-9126. 1-800-499-9126.
Do you need money to grow your business? Then call us at Amera Merchant. If you have Visa and MasterCard sales of $5,000 or more a month, you may be eligible to get up to $150,000 in working capital in as little as 7 days. Call right now and see if you qualify. 800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. If you're a business owner like me, whether you own a small shop or a large corporation, when it comes to building a new facility, you know it, the process can be overwhelming. Anthem Steel has a high-quality solution for almost any size building you need. Churches, schools, or gymnasiums. So call us right now for a free quote. 877-247-1584, 877-247-1584, 877-247-1584. Are you worried about losing your home to foreclosure? If you've been threatened with foreclosure or received legal papers from your bank, you have approximately 30 days to respond. If you do not respond, you could lose your home. You have rights. Act now to protect your rights. You can stay in your home. Many times you can even modify your loan. The bottom line is you can get past this, but you must act right now. Call National Foreclosure Defense right now at 800-917-2120, 800-917-2120. If you've been served by your bank and you're worried about losing your home to foreclosure, now is the time to fight back and save your home. Time is limited, so call right now. 800-917-2120, 800-917-2120. Call the professionals at National Foreclosure Defense right now. 800-917-2120.
Have you heard? Proactive is America's top acne system because it's fast and gentle, and it's all about prevention. So stay tuned for a chance to participate in a 60-day trial to prove it. Do you have troubled skin, acne? With Proactive, you can heal your acne and help prevent new breakouts. Right now, in this radio area, we're looking for just 50 people with moderate acne to demonstrate exactly how fast Proactive works. The first 50 callers who qualify can try Proactive risk-free for 60 days. And you get our dermatologist's clear skin or it's free guarantee. Plus, the trial includes our legendary refining mask and green tea moisturizer free. Be one of the 50 lucky people to complete this 60-day risk-free trial. You won't see this offer in stores or on TV. It's a radio exclusive. Supplies are limited, and the trial offer ends soon. So call now. 1-800.
Radio 93.9 WVTT weather is brought to you by TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. Get half off deals from local businesses when you visit TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. As we head into the evening, get ready, partly cloudy. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 20s. Tuesday should be a mostly sunny day with a high of around 50. Get ready, mostly cloudy and milder. Tuesday night, a low 36. Wednesday looks to be a partly to mostly sunny day with a high of around 60. Again, overnight, a low in the mid to upper 20s. And I'm Chief Forecaster Rod Tanner on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
You want real sports talk for real sports fans? Listen to The Mouth right here on Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
And we're back right here, The Mouth, The Cage, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. My man Tom, we're right up against the top of the hour, man. I'm going to let you finish up with your Jets thoughts right after the CBS break. Sorry to keep you on hold, man, but it's commercial time. CBS affiliates got to get the update in. That's what happens on the radio. So we're wrapping up the hour, and then right here, just hang on a second. The Mouth, The Cage. Be right back.
Don't like our opinions? Have one of your own? Give us a call and get it off your chest. The Cage lines are open for what we call feeding time. Call 716-376-WVTT or email your questions or input to cage@colonialme.com. The Cage will return on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
Yeah.
All right, so
do you have a debt problem? Well, now you can finally do something about those collection calls. You can only avoid your mail and the phone for so long. That's why you need to call the Debt Solutions Network. We have agents standing by right now to assist you with your debt problems. Credit card debt, collection accounts, medical bills, and repossessions. Call now for relief.
800-814-5077. That's 800-814-5077. Not available in all states.
Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT weather is brought to you by TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. Get half off deals from local businesses when you visit TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. As we head into the evening, get ready, partly cloudy. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 20s. Tuesday should be a mostly sunny day with a high of around 50. Get ready, mostly cloudy and milder. Tuesday night, a low 36. Wednesday looks to be a partly to mostly sunny day with a high of around 60. Again, overnight, a low in the mid to upper 20s. And I'm Chief Forecaster Rod Tanner on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
CBS Sports Radio is on the air in Olean. Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT HD2 Portville, WXMT HD2 Smethport, W230BO Olean.
Roger Goodell, and requested that the NFL become involved and conduct a review of the workplace.
Philbin would only say that he has suspended Incognito and would not confirm about the releasing of the offensive lineman. Meanwhile, we've got Monday Night Football coming up. Packers and Bears get together from Green Bay. Here's Chicago head coach Mark Trestman.
The guys are excited. I think their energy is starting to build for this game. They're excited about going to Lambeau Field and playing on Monday Night Football and in front of the world and in front of their peers and for each other.
Meanwhile, Jack Del Rio will take over for John Fox. Fox needs a heart procedure. He's going to be out for an extended period of time. Earlier today in Denver, Del Rio spoke with the media.
I've got to be my own man on things, but, Coach and I share a lot of similar beliefs. I've worked with him for a long time. I understand his philosophies, and so there aren't many that are very different.
And elsewhere, Nnamdi Asomugha has been released by the 49ers. The team also activated Mario Manningham. The Cardinals have signed tight end Jake Ballard. The Bills welcome back E.J. Manuel after a knee injury. And to make room, they released quarterback Matt Flynn. I'm Jay Berman.
Miss an interview? You can listen to it right now at our brand new website, cbssportsradio.com.
Welcome to The Cage. Live local sports talk for the Twin Tiers. Controversy, predictions, interviews, worldwide sports on a local level. This is the show for you, the Olean sports fan. Are you fired up about a sports topic? Put your rage in The Cage by calling 716-376-WVTT or emailing cage@colonialme.com. Welcome to The Cage on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
Hour number 2, The Mouth, The Cage, right here, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. Hour number 1 went in the books fast. Remember, coming up in this hour, my man Chris Trapasso of BleacherReport.com calls to recap the Bills game. Let me bring my man Tom back. Let him finish his thoughts about the New York Jets. Tom, you still there, brother?
Yeah, Joe, what's up?
All right, so Tom, you were saying how impressed you were. Now the Jets coming in a bye week, and I was thinking about this, during the break. I know that the Jets, as a players and personnel, they played the game, but what do we say about Rex Ryan now at this point? It's been a roller coaster ride, but this is kind of Rex Ryan football, and the defense is coming up. Mistakes aren't being made in the victories. Do you have to give a lot more credit to Rex Ryan than people are really trying to, say it's the defense, say it's an individual player, but is this, in your opinion, as a lifelong Jets fan, Rex Ryan's best performance as a coach with this kind of people on his team?
Well, it's tough to say because I was one of the people last year who, after the abysmal year, I wanted to see Rex be fired, and they fired Tannenbaum, so usually when you fire the GM, you fire the coach. So I was a little upset that they kept the coach. I wanted to clean the house out and start anew, but they kept Rex, and I thought as early as 3 or 4 weeks in the season, depending how ugly it could have got, that he could have been gone then. But he has proven when he has players on defense and he can build a great defense, he doesn't have to have an offense. He can just build around the defense and then be in every game and just be right there and at the end win the game. So, he has definitely made a case for keeping his job and getting a new contract after this year if he keeps this up. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Last thing before I let you go, Tom, really, thinking about it honestly, unbiased. The Jets have a bye, then they got the Bills. We can talk about that next week. But in a non-biased opinion, you look at how, I guess the mediocre would be the word. The Jets, besides the division leaders and the Denver Broncos, are the only other team above 500 in the AFC. So, legitimately, are the Jets a playoff team?
Well, you have to figure that they would have to get to 9 wins, and then 10. If they get to 10, that's probably would definitely get them in. 9 might be. We have to figure out tiebreakers and stuff after that. But looking at their schedule, I don't think they'll make the playoffs yet, because I have to see them actually win 2 games in a row before I can say that. So after this bye week, if they can go into Buffalo and beat the Bills, then I will have a much better feeling that they're a playoff team. But right now I can't say they're a playoff team because they've yet to win 2 games in a row. And in the second half of the season, they're going to have to string a couple of wins together to get to 9 or 10 wins, and that will get them into the playoffs. But I haven't seen that yet, so at this moment, Just my opinion, I would not put them in the playoffs yet. But they are in the picture, and we're talking about it, which is much more than I thought we were going to be doing this season.
Absolutely, Tom. I appreciate the unbiased opinion, you taking the time to make the call, man. Really appreciate it, bro.
All right, Joe. Thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely. My man, Tom O'Connell, he's a great guy from New Jersey, at the Irish Insider. If you want to follow him on Twitter, man, he does some great stuff. NCAA basketball. He's a Jets fan, a Mets fan. Great guy to have on the show. I appreciate you calling in. 716-376-9888, the magical digits to dial. You want to get here on the number. We talked about the Jets. You know, wrapping it up with the Jets. And, you know, something that was impressive to me, and I made a snafu in fantasy football, by the way. I didn't start Chris Ivory. Another great performance for him. I mean, he was tremendous. 139 yards, a touchdown on 18 carries. I mean, and you know something else that was interesting? How about Josh Cribbs? I mean, Cribbs ran for 3 times out of the wild card and completed a 25-yard pass. That was crazy. That was, I mean, unbelievable that, you know, how the Jets, it was a total team effort from the New York Jets. And, you know, it's kind of sad that we're sitting here, and I'm telling you, and the truth is, if you listen to this, and this is how mediocre, and you know, I don't even think it's just the AFC. I think the entire NFL is just mediocre this year. There are, you know, you can say, hey, well, Mal, the Kansas City Chiefs stand out as an undefeated team, you know, 9-0, but then again, those arguments come out about, you know, their schedule and who they played. And then you look at the Denver Broncos, who at 7-1 are probably the most, in my opinion, the most impressive team, you know, talent-wise, up and down the field on both sides of the ball. But look at the AFC. Look at the rest of these records. All right, we'll start with the West. Kansas City at 9-0. Denver at 7-1. The Chargers at 4-4. The Raiders at 3-5. Then you go up to the North. Cincinnati, quite impressive. They're finding a rhythm. You know, they could be a competitive team. They're at 6-3. Then you got Cleveland at 4-5, Baltimore at 3-5, and Pittsburgh at 2-6. So, you know, this is crazy what we're seeing here. Indianapolis 5-2, Tennessee 4-4, Houston 2-5, Jacksonville 0-8. East, the Patriots 7-2, the Jets 5-4, Miami 4-4, and the Bills at 3-6. So, you know, a lot of years when you sit here and you say, well, it's going to be the Patriots, it's going to be the Colts, it's going to be, you know, this and that. This year, I think you have more parity in the NFL. Granted, there are 2 winless teams, and those 2 winless teams suck. But this year, I think, I've been watching football for a long time, and I don't know about you out there, but, you know, this has to be one of the closest, most competitive years in the NFL. Tampa Bay had the opportunity to beat Seattle on Sunday, but lost it, blew it in overtime because of Greg Schiano's stupidity. Pure and simple. I mean, if you didn't watch that game and you don't know what I'm talking about, here was the situation. You really look at it. They had the ball, I think, what was it, like 2-3 minutes left? I think it was the fourth. I know it was the fourth quarter. But you really look at what was going on in that game, and it was back and forth, and Tampa was up. And, you know, I think it was his idiotic decision. It was 4th down at the end of regulation in Seattle, and he didn't go for it. What is wrong with him? How do you not go for the jugular? Go for the finisher. You know, put, as I like to say, the hockey term, put the biscuit in the basket. Go for it. He's going to be gone. He's going to be fired shortly here. There's no way he's going to make it to the end of the season. I mean, I don't think he can make it to the end of the season. Tampa Bay is just garbage and ridiculous. And, yeah, he needs to be fired. They need to start over in Tampa Bay. They've already had enough losing. The worst team in NFL history, in my opinion, with those 76 or whatever year it was, 76 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's the truth. They were garbage. 716-376-9888 @ Joel the Mouth. You want to get at me on the Twitter, Facebook.com/sportsradio 93.9 WVTT. Cage @ colonialme.com. And don't tell me I don't give you enough ways to get in on the show, man. I always let you guys get in on the show, give you your time, make sure you be able to say your piece. But, you know, parity in the NFL. Is there a really, besides the Denver Broncos, in my opinion, there's no dominant team in the AFC. And then you jump over here to the NFC and just look at this. Dallas at 5-4, the Eagles 4-5, 3-5 for Washington, 2-6 for the Giants. I mean, come on. And the Saints at 6-2. The Panthers would be a playoff team right now at 5-3. Atlanta 2-6. The Bucks are garbage, 0-8. But the Panthers, I think the Panthers are one of the most surprising teams in the NFL right now. Green Bay 5-2, Detroit 5-3, Chicago 4-3, Minnesota 1-7, Seattle 8-1, San Francisco 6-2, Arizona 4-4, and St. Louis is at a paltry 3-6. But the NFC, I think, you look at Seattle, you look at the 49ers, you look at Green Bay, you look at New Orleans. Those are teams that I think can be scary. I think the NFC has more complete teams than the AFC does. And that's true on both sides of the ball, and I think you see that with Seattle. Even though they kind of got exposed yesterday, I don't know how Tampa Bay was able to do the things that they were able to do. But Dallas almost lost yesterday. And we'll quickly talk about that game and the stupidity of Dez Bryant. I mean, Dez Bryant, before we get to the fact here that the Cowboys did win 27-3, but if you look at, like, losers of the NFL yesterday, Dez Bryant is definitely a loser. I mean, his talent, unquestionable. I'm not sitting here denying that Dez Bryant is a talented guy, that he has, positive attributes, that he's usually a nice guy, it seems like. But, as everyone could say, Dez Bryant doesn't understand that he needs to channel the emotions the proper way. He can't show up teammates. He can't show up officials. I mean, he drew the 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty late in the third that ended a possible scoring opportunity for the Cowboys. Now, what if the Cowboys had lost that game? Really, seriously, if the Cowboys had lost that game on a scoring drive that Dez Bryant, stopped himself, this would be out of control. And a lot of people who took to Twitter yesterday was defending his actions, saying it was passion. It was stupidity. He let the emotions get the best of him. You can't do that. You can't do that. And the Cowboys, they tried their hardest to lose this game. And I was watching a lot of, and Cowboys fans are hilarious on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, @_Joel the Mouth, be part of Mouth Nation, just like I am. Follow some Cowboys fans, seriously. Because I was laughing hysterically. Like, I almost spit out my beer at one point for the ridiculousness that people were talking about. It was great. It cheered me up. Especially with the way the Bills were playing. I really wish they would have lost. But they didn't. Dallas had 4 drops through the first half. Tony Romo was his paltry self. Again, he had big numbers because, granted, he threw for 51 attempts, 337 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Decent game overall, but he did cost his team some points. 2 consecutive sacks in the red zone. His pick was a terrible pick. It was a typical Tony Romo pick, and that's where I saw the hilarity of Twitter blow up. Oh, that's Tony Romo again. Here comes the Tony Romo syndrome. I mean, I was getting a kick out of it. And Jason Garrett screwed up a couple of times. He had to waste a timeout on defense when he got booed from the crowd. He challenged a play, and, I couldn't tell from the replays. It seemed that he hit the ground, but he was on top of a Minnesota player. So I think that was a tough challenge. He could have kind of, not done that there. And think about this. DeMarco Murray was in the game. DeMarco Murray was healthy. DeMarco Murray can rush the ball well. He had 4 carries. 4 stinking carries. 31 yards. And Dunbar and Randall combined for 4 more carries. So what is that, 8? Something like 8 total carries on the ground? I mean, come on. And the biggest thing that stood out to me, Cowboys fans, who I couldn't believe this was happening, the Dallas defense, they made Christian Ponder look like an elite quarterback. They did. 25 of 37 for 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 passing, 1 running. I mean, I understand the costly fumble late, with the strip sack and fumble, but most of the time the Dallas defense was paltry. It was unbelievable. And Adrian Peterson looked like Adrian Peterson, 140 yards and a touchdown on 25 carries. He did great. But, the question to me is, Cowboys fans, is how confident can you really feel about this team? This Dallas Cowboy team, it might be in first place in the NFC East, but what's that to say? The NFC East is garbage. The NFC East is garbage. the Eagles, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Nick Foles threw 7 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns. And he probably could have thrown for more, except for the fact that they took him out of the game, that they kind of took the pedal off the metal, which I don't understand. We were talking about that in the office today, earlier before the show. You know, I can understand in high school and in college when you want to, you know, in college you kind of got to run the score up because you get style points and whatnot. I get it. But in the NFL, man, he easily had chances. He could have put up more than 7 touchdowns. He could have put up 10 the way he was passing, the way he was playing. That's the truth. But no, the pedal was taken off the metal. He was taking out the entire starting team of the Eagles were taken out. So that was kind of interesting. But Chip Kelly was doing his thing. I thought, you know, the Eagles played well, so you saw that. And the Eagles and Nick Foles, 66 fantasy points, single-handedly demolished the Oakland Raiders. It was crazy day in the NFL. We'll talk a little bit more about the Bills here, getting my man Chris Trapasso's his recap of the game, feature reporter on BleacherReport.com. Going to pay the bills, 5:17 and counting. The Mouth, the Cage, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. We'll be right back after we pay the bills, as we do.
Disagree with us? Put your rage in the cage. Call in right now and tell us what you think. Call 716-376-WVTT or email your questions or input to cage@colonialme.com. The Cage will return on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
If you're struggling to pay or haven't been making your student loan payments, listen carefully to this urgent alert. Have you been out of school for 10 or more years and you're still making your student loan payments? Are your student loans past due or even in default? Can't go back to school because of an old student loan problem? Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month, based on what you can afford to pay. One quick 10-minute call could help you solve your student loan problems. So call right now. Not available in all states. Payments may vary based on income.
800-655-1917. 800-655-1917. 800-655-1917. That's 800-655-1917.
Health insurance is on everyone's mind right now. You either don't have it, or you have it and you think it's too expensive, and you probably feel like you don't have any options. We can help. We are InSphere Insurance Solutions. We offer health insurance plans from major carriers nationwide, and likely to have a plan that can save you money. Whether you're self-employed, on a COBRA plan that's about to expire, or you simply don't have health insurance where you work and you need it, InSphere Insurance Solutions can help you. Our agents will help you find coverage you can afford. InSphere Insurance Solutions is an authorized agency in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. Plans may not be available in all states.
877-495-1053, 877-495-1053, 877-495-1053, 877-495-1053. There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 800-957-6069, 800-957-6069, 800-957-6069.
If you're a diabetic, you and I both know the process of testing your blood sugar levels can be painful. Well, now there's an alternative from Advanced Medical Support. Call us today to learn how you can get a state-of-the-art meter with the newest pain-free technology.
800-343-4379, 800-343-4379. 800-343-4379 for free delivery of your diabetic testing supplies. Call 800-343-4379.
Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT weather is brought to you by TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. Get half off deals from local businesses when you visit TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. As we head into the evening, get ready, partly cloudy. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 20s. Tuesday should be a mostly sunny day with a high of around 50. Get ready, mostly cloudy and milder. Tuesday night, a low 36. Wednesday looks to be a partly to mostly sunny day with a high of around 60. Again, overnight, a low in the mid to upper 20s. And I'm Chief Forecaster Rod Tanner on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
You're in the cage with the mouth on Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. Shake it.
And you're back. Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT, the cage, the mouth. You know how we do on a Monday, recapping all things Bills. And in his regular weekly spot here, Mondays at 5:20, featured columnist for the Buffalo Bills at BleacherReport.com and local Western New York native, my man Chris Trapasso joins me on the show. Chris, how's it going today?
It's going pretty well. How are you, Joe?
Yo, I'm fantastic. Great to have you on, man. This is going to be a great segment here. And I'll start out with this right away, right off the bat. And I said this, and I look at the final score, and I know it read Chiefs 23, Bills 13, but I say it was the Bills, 17, and the Bills 13. The Bills beat themselves in this game more than any other game they played this season.
Yeah, totally. I mean, obviously with the Jeff Toole pick six in the third quarter, I mean, if the Bills can punch it in from, a yard or two out, they're up 17-3 in the third quarter. And with the way that their defense was playing, although they didn't create any turnovers, they were really handling the Chiefs' offense pretty well. You think that the Bills would have pretty much been in control at that point. And then the T.J. Graham fumble, on his 10-yard line, it's an easy score for the Chiefs' defense. Yeah, I mean, if there's any game that I've seen where the Bills have really shot themselves in the foot, it was on Sunday.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people were blaming this solely on Jeff Toole, but I point out the fact there were 6 drops. I point out the fact that they didn't capitalize when they needed to capitalize. Who do you put most of this blame on if you're the big, being a the Bills fan?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think for a undrafted free agent rookie quarterback who had never started any NFL game, he only had that second half against the Cleveland Browns. I think Jeff Toole played okay, and probably better than a lot of people thought he would against a defense that a lot of people thought was one of the best defenses in the NFL, in the Chiefs defense. I just think down the stretch you could kind of see where, there were some reads that he missed, some overthrows, a few interceptions that you would like to think, E.J. Manuel or even Thad Lewis would have made. I think most of the blame would have to go on him, although he doesn't deserve to be bashed and totally driven into town. And although the Bills' defense played well, it was their second straight game where they didn't force any turnovers. They got off the field. They were pretty good against the run. Alex Smith didn't do much as a passer, but that's kind of Alex Smith's game. He doesn't really do much, but he takes care of the football. And a lot of times in the second half, third and fourth quarters, the Bills needed to get good field position and, get a fumble or create a interception, and they just couldn't do it. So I would say Jeff Toole and the Bills defense in terms of not being able to make that big game-changing play like the Chiefs did.
Absolutely. And I know when we were talking last week, we had said how pathetic the offensive line of the Bills were. But this week, against the team that had the most sacks in the NFL, they seem to turn a corner. Are we going to expect, this kind of performance from the Bills offensive line moving forward?
Well, if there was one thing that I noticed about Jeff Toole that was encouraging and actually pretty surprising, was that he did a very good job, with those subtle movements in the pocket, where there was a few times that Justin Houston and Tamba kind of beat their tackle around the edge, and Toole just with a lot more poise than I thought he would have, stepped up or moved to the left, moved to the right, and kept his eyes downfield. But yeah, overall, the Bills' offensive line did a great job against the obvious strength of that Chiefs defense that's had a 10-sack game against the Oakland Raiders against a pretty mobile Terrell Pryor. I just think that now with Doug Legursky in the flow of things, he started a few games. Colin Brown is not on the team. He's not that sore thumb sticking out. I think in terms of pass protection, I think we're going to see a lot more steady performances from the Bills' offensive line moving forward.
Absolutely. Another thing that stood out to me, and C.J. Spiller had what some people would say his most impressive outing of the season, that 61-yard run to start the third quarter. He had some bounce in his step. He looked more explosive than the last three games. He ended the day with 116 yards. But what stood out to me, and I know, a couple weeks ago you had wrote an article about taking it slow with C.J. Spiller. He did have to take himself out of the game a few times. Is he back, or is he still not at 100%? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, on those two big plays, like the 61-yard run that you just mentioned, and then there was a screen play later in the game that he busted on the sideline. They were both, well blocked, tons of space in front of him, and if there's been anything that's been very noticeable and that everyone has agreed on about Spiller's disappointing start to the season was that, a lot of the plays where he was getting the ball were poorly blocked. There was no space around him when he is one of those, guys, get him the ball in space and just let him work. But if you go back and rewatch those plays and a few of his other longer runs, because he didn't just have, those 2 or 3 big plays, he had a handful of 5, 6, 7, 8-yard runs. He didn't seem to have the real, explosion in the open field that we saw in 2012, that we saw at the end of 2011. On the 60-yard run, again, it was a perfectly blocked. I think it was a stretch play to the left that he kind of cut back to the right. Yep. And usually when he gets into the second and third level, he shifts it into that fifth gear, and there's pretty much no one that can stop him. And the same thing with the screenplay. He kind of, hit that like fourth gear, but couldn't really go all the way into fifth, kind of. And like you said, we did see him take himself out. He did limp a little bit. So I don't think he's, 60%, but I don't necessarily think he's at 100%. I would say somewhere between 80 and 90%. And right when he's done, running 60 yards or 40 yards or 30 yards, I think when the adrenaline kind of lessens, I think he kind of feels a little bit of soreness in that ankle that might be with him the whole season.
Absolutely. Hey, it's the NFL. It's a physical thing, and the guys who are resilient play on, and I gave him a lot of credit for being resilient. The other big thing that came up is the Goodwin catch. Was it a catch? Okay. Was it not a catch? I read what Coach said, and I don't know if you've heard it, so I'm going to read it to you. This is what Coach Doug said. I thought it was a catch all the way. I really did. I saw him bounce. I saw it in his hand. I struggle sometimes. I'd love for someone to tell me what the definition of a catch is. He bounced once, and he had it. Second time he bounced, he didn't. So was it a catch in your opinion? Wasn't it a catch? I mean, where are your thoughts on this one?
Well, actually, on Twitter today, I posted a Vine video of what I got from that catch off of NFL Game Rewind. And so, I mean, I rewatched it probably 15 or 20 times today. And, yeah, I mean, it seemed like a catch to me because he had the ball. He hit the ground at first, and the ball kind of shifted in his hands. And then, but it never touched the ground. And then he regained possession and bounced off the turf again, seemed to have firm control. At that point, I thought the catch was complete. It was over. It was done. And then as he rolled onto his back, I think it was actually Brandon Flowers, kind of felt that his hand was there and just stripped away the ball. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was a catch. I just still don't know what a NFL catch is today because, when does a catch end? How long does the guy have to have the ball on the ground? It just seemed like Goodwin had the ball in his possession on the ground for a ample amount of time for that to be considered a catch. So I'm still not sure what a catch is. I don't know if the NFL knows. I don't know if every officiating crew is different. So it was it was a tough call, but I think with the review and with all the angles that they were given and that were shown on the TV broadcast, it seemed like a very hard thing for me to say, okay, that was not a catch. He did not have control. When he bounced off the turf with his hand under the ball 2 times before it being stripped, as he was rolling over.
Absolutely. And with that said, talking about Goodwin, let's talk a little bit about T.J. Graham. And some people, were asking me and questioning this. Why does it seem that T.J. Graham is having a much bigger role than Goodwin? I know Goodwin, had the catch mishap and this and that happened, but who do you think, Robert Woods, who should be the most expansive role for that number 2 receiver? That's where I think the Bills are still lacking. Tua looked for Woods a few times, but you got Graham, you got Goodwin. Who in your mind is that guy? Is Graham better than Goodwin?
I think at this point, Goodwin is better in 2 very important parts of being a wide receiver. One, he's just a little bit faster, and we're comparing. I think Graham ran 4.37 at the combine a few years ago. Goodwin ran obviously that 4.27, which was the fastest time of the combine this past year. So I think he's just maybe a quarter of a step faster, which is can be the difference between an interception and a touchdown. And I think Goodwin, which we saw this a lot during training camp too, Goodwin just locates the ball faster in the air, a little bit better in the air, and he's a little more tenacious and ferocious going up for the ball, kind of like we saw on that long catch that then got, overturned. For being a 5'9" smaller guy, he's not afraid to kind of go up and catch that ball in traffic. When we've seen T.J. Graham has been open a lot and, just hasn't been able to locate the ball, like on the 4th down play. The ball seemed like it was there. He couldn't find something, like in the sun. I don't know if that played any factor. I think at this point, Goodwin has played enough. He's played 3 or 4 games now that he should probably start to see more snaps on the outside or in the slot than T.J. Graham.
Oh, absolutely. Now, here's the other thing, and I want to talk about this, and we just talked about the Bills. We're talking to Chris Trapasso, BleacherReport.com, feature columnist, right here on Bleacher Report, The Mouth and The Cage. And, I want to bring up this, and a lot of people are saying you can't give the Chiefs any credit. They didn't score an offensive touchdown, and we said this the other day that, they're beating the teams in front of them. Is this Kansas City Chief team, is it going to beat the Broncos next week after their bye? Is it a team that people should start to take seriously because we know what defenses can do? And what sticks out to me is that Ravens Super Bowl team with Trent Dilfer at quarterback. Alex Smith is not a Peyton Manning. Alex Smith is not a Tom Brady. But what Alex Smith does is not make mistakes. And is that something that people need to start recognizing? And we have to look at this Chiefs team and say, hey, they can win with defense. It's not just about offense.
Well, first and foremost, there's so much parity in today's NFL that anytime you can get to 9-0, however you get there, that is a extremely impressive accomplishment for a team. But I just think that it's and me being a NFL writer, I cover the NFL on a daily basis. It's just too simple to say, okay, the Chiefs are 9-0, that's it. They won. They've won all the games on their schedule. I think you have to look at every team and analyze and say, are the Dallas Cowboys better than their record, or how did the Chiefs get to 9-0? Why are the Bills 3-6? I think you have to break down every team more than just their wins and losses. And in terms of an opportunistic defense and a defense with a very good pass rush and a pretty good secondary, and then 2 pretty good linebackers in Akeem Jordan and Derek Johnson, I think the Chiefs are up there with the Houston Texans and with the Seattle Seahawks and with the San Francisco 49ers as one of the best defenses in the league. Now, on the other side, the offensive line is a little bit of a concern, although Eric Fisher played probably his best game of the year yesterday against the Bills. But, Alex Smith, like you kind of alluded to, is not a quarterback who's going to win you a lot of games. He hasn't done that this season. He didn't really do it much over the past 2 seasons for the 49ers. But why he's a valuable signal caller for, these last 3 years is that although he's not making incredible plays and throwing, bombs down the field into triple coverage, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. So if the Chiefs force 2 turnovers, they're usually going to win the turnover battle, which, everyone says, the most telling thing about a team, if they can win the turnover battle, they'll probably win. And if they lose the turnover battle, they'll probably lose. So moving forward, I think you have to look at the Chiefs and say, hey, they've won all 9 of their games. Are they, the 2007 Patriots? No. Are they the, Denver Broncos of a year ago down the stretch? I don't think so. But I think in these next 3 weeks, when they play the Broncos twice, we will get a very good gauge of how good this team really is. I think they're a good team. I think they're a playoff team. But to expect that, these fluky turnovers and, winning with defense every week in today's NFL, I just don't think that that's really plausible to think that that's going to continue into December and into January when the games really matter.
Absolutely, Chris. It's a pleasure. Let them know how they could follow you on Twitter and where they could find your writing, my friend.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Chris Trapasso. I try to keep it pretty simple. And I'm on Bleacher Report. I write, 2 or 3 articles every day on the trending topics in the NFL. Every Sunday before the Bills game, I write a game day column. So you can find all my writing there.
Chris, I look forward to talking to you next week, and hopefully it's after a Bills victory over the Jets.
All right, Joel. Thanks again.
Absolutely. My man, Chris Trapasso from BleacherReport.com does great stuff for that website, man. Great guy to have on air. He'll be on with us every Monday recapping the Bills game, so big shout out to him. We got to take a break, pay the bills. The Cage, the Mouth will return to talk some Buffalo Sabres right after this.
Feeding time at the Cage. Call in right now at 716-376-WVTT or email your questions or input to cage@colonialme.com. The Cage will return on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
Hi, this is Jeff Andrelonis, owner of Colonial Media and Entertainment. It's just the first week of November, but it's not too early to think about holiday advertising on Colonial Media and Entertainment's group of radio stations. If you're a business owner or manager, give us a call. We'll work with you to develop a radio advertising campaign that will make the cash register ring this holiday season. Call 716-372-9564.
Do you need money to grow your business? Then call us at Amera Merchant. If you have Visa and MasterCard sales of $5,000 or more a month, you may be eligible to get up to $150,000 in working capital in as little as 7 days. Call right now and see if you qualify. 800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. If you're a business owner like me, whether you own a small shop or a large corporation, when it comes to building a new facility, you know it, the process can be overwhelming. Anthem Steel has a high-quality solution for almost any size building you need. Churches, schools, or gymnasiums. So call us right now for a free quote. 877-247-1584, 877-247-1584, 877-247-1584.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now.
800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
This is Jeff Andrelonis, President and CEO of Colonial Media and Entertainment. You're listening to Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT, the home of Dan Patrick, Jim Rome, and CBS Sports Radio. And in time for football season, we'll be airing a local sports talk show for the afternoon drive home. We're currently interviewing potential talk show hosts. To apply, email your resume and demo to careers@colonialme.com. And of course, we're also interested in growing our base of advertisers. But the sports radio format isn't right for all advertisers. If you want to reach the unemployed, those living on food stamps, or those who are just plain lazy, you'll want to advertise somewhere else. Sports radio listeners are high-income earners. They have driving personalities, they're passionate, loyal, and they support the businesses who advertise on Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. If that's the kind of person you'd like to reach, call Tony at 716-372-9564 for more information.
Do you have a debt problem? Well, now you can finally do something about those collection calls. You can only avoid your mail and the phone for so long. That's why you need to call the Debt Solutions Network. We have agents standing by right now to assist you with your debt problems. Credit card debt, collection accounts, medical bills, and repossessions. Call now for relief.
800-814-5077. That's 800-814-5077. Not available in all states.
Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT weather is brought to you by TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. Get half off deals from local businesses when you visit TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. As we head into the evening, get ready, partly cloudy. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 20s. Tuesday should be a mostly sunny day with a high of around 50. Get ready, mostly cloudy and milder. Tuesday night, a low 36. Wednesday looks to be a partly to mostly sunny day with a high of around 60. Again, overnight, a low in the mid to upper 20s. And I'm Chief Forecaster Rod Tanner on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
It's feeding time at the Cage. This is Olean's only local sports talk show. Call in right now at 716-376-WVTT or email us at cage@colonialme.com. This is the Cage, only on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
The Mouth, the Cage, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT, 716-376-9888, the magical digits to dial. Talk some Bills with my man Chris Trapasso. Great to have him on. Talked about some of the other NFL stuff, but I got to bring up some Buffalo Sabres stuff. I absolutely do. I didn't forget about them and their pathetic loss to the Ducks on Saturday. Good thing I didn't waste my money going to the First Niagara Center on Saturday while I was up in Buffalo. What a waste that would have been. But there's something just scathing that I just, a lot of times that Darcy has gotten a lot of crap for the moves he's made, and granted, some of them have been bad and some of them have been pathetic, but I don't know if you guys have checked out the Buffalo News today, but in the sports section, go to buffnews.com near the end of the page. There's a story that says, axing Coletta was the wrong move by Bucky Gleason. I want to know what Bucky was drinking before he wrote that article. I mean, he's saying that, you know, this guy he deserves a spot on this team. He earned his spot on this team, that he's a leader, that this team is just doing nothing but youthful garbage and rebuilding, and a guy who's been in the NHL deserves to be. What is he watching? What is Coletta earned? I mean, I don't understand. He's a reckless goon, and if he's helping the team on the power play like this guy thinks he is, how is he helping him when he's in the box? The NHL is totally getting away from thugs, morons, and ridiculous idiots who don't play the game the right way. So, Bucky Gleason, I want to know how is it the wrong move? This is a great move. Now, I know that a lot of people in the area, he's from Hamburg, West Seneca, you know, he's from an area. He's a local guy. But the comments that Coletta made after that Darcy did the right thing, and how often do we sit here and Sabre fans say Darcy made the right move? He said after clearing waivers, which means none, zero, nada. No team wanted him. Nobody. What Coletta said is that he's going to work on his game. He's going to try to become a better player. Do you think if someone picked him up that he would try to become a better player? No. Then he would have known his actions keep him on the ice. But the way Darcy did by cutting his sorry butt and nobody picking him up on waivers is sending a message to him. He's got to become a smart player. He's got to be able to play the game the right way, adapt to this NHL style. And Darcy, my hat goes off to you for the first time this season in saying you made the right move. And Bucky Gleason, you made the wrong move by writing this article. You must know nothing about the game of hockey. How could you write an article like that knowing that goonish hooliganism is not tolerated by the NHL anymore? Guys like this have no place in the game. None. And you're supposed to be a writer with the knowledge of hockey? I mean, come on. Unless you were just writing this article to get people angry, because I know you got me angry, then I get it. But to say that he earned his spot? He earned what spot? How did he earn a spot on the ice by being a goon? We've known for a long time that the NHL is trying to change its image. And, Coletta is going to change the way he plays now that he knows it's not tolerated by anyone. If someone would have picked him up, then that would have been, hey, oh, good, I can do this. But it's not. It's not happening. So, Bucky, please, man, @_ Joel the Mouth, or call me at the radio station. I'd love to know your thought process in writing this article. 716-376-9888. And Kevin Ganessa reached out to this guy to try to get him on the show so I can ask him questions about what his thought process are, and he didn't even respond to the answer. You write something moronic and idiotic like this, please stand up for yourself. If I say something on this show that you guys out there feel is idiotic or moronic, I would love to defend myself, love to tell you my thought process, my rationale. This guy does not have the cojones to come on this show and answer questions about this moronic article. And that angers me even more. And that's why this guy is getting a verbal tongue lashing from the mouth right now. If you're going to write a column, put some thought into it. Use common sense. I mean, it's baffling. Do I say some things that are stupid on the air? Probably. I'm trying to get a right raise out of you guys, and I'm always here to defend myself. This guy is running and hiding behind his emails and behind his tweets, and we tried to reach out to him, and I hate people like that. If I confront you, be a man about it. Step up. Answer the questions. And speaking of thuggism and hooliganism and goonish behavior, what happened on Friday night between the Capitals and the Flyers was just unbleepin' believable. That's how I wanted to use an expletive. That's how outlandish this was. I mean, were we watching an MMA fight with someone throwing up the white flag? I mean, your team is getting annihilated on the ice. Annihilated. And there's a fight going on in one of the corners. And so what happens? Emery decides to come out. The goalie. This is the goalie. And, when you see goalie fights in the NHL, you're like, oh, man, that's awesome. I love goalie fights. But this goalie fight wasn't a fight. It was an assault. It was a brutal beatdown of a guy who wanted no part of it. And you can sit here and say, well, Mouth, Holtby was throwing punches only after he was provoked. You could tell at the start that he did not want to have anything to do with this fight. And the fact is, Emery had 10 punches to his head. 10 unassailable punches to the back of the head. That was worse than the ref throwing in, if you watch MMA, when you're getting that many blows to the back of someone's head, the ref is stopping it. And what else makes me sick is that Emery was named the second star of the game. The second star of the game for brutalizing someone. That wasn't a fight. That was a beatdown. of epic proportion that was uninhibited. It was ridiculous. Got to take our final break of the show, man. We're gonna wrap it up here at the top of the hour. When we come back, @_Joel the Mouth, you got something to say it. Bucky Gleason, if you're listening, please defend yourself. I have an opening to come on the show any day this week. You name your date, time, and place. I'll get you on the show to defend yourself. The Mouth, the Cage, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT, paying those bills. We'll be right back.
The Twin Tiers only radio program guaranteed to start bar fights. Give us your opinion right now. Call 716-376-WVTT or email your questions or input to cage@colonialme.com. The Cage will return on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
It's the Twin Tiers Dollar Saver Guy with this week's Twin Tiers Dollar Saver half-price deal of the week. And it's a great one. Domino's Pizza, West State Street in Olean. Wow. They have a great carry-out special Monday through Thursday with large 3-topping pizzas for only $7.99. How about their medium pan style 2 toppings, also just $7.99. I'll tell you, folks, they got a menu to die for. Domino's Pizza. What more do I need to say? Here's what we've got from Domino's Pizza on West State Street in Olean. A $20 certificate for half price, just $10. Now, look, at half price, these won't last long. You'll have to be quick. These certificates go on sale exactly 9 a.m. this Thursday morning online at twintiersdollarsaver.com. And as usual, first come, first serve at twintiersdollarsaver.com.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 800-957-6069. 800-957-6069. 800-957-6069.
If you're a diabetic, you and I both know the process of testing your blood sugar levels can be painful. Well, now there's an alternative from Advanced Medical Support. Call us today to learn how you can get a state-of-the-art meter with the newest pain-free technology.
800-343-4379. 800-343-4379. For free delivery of your diabetic testing supplies, call 800-343-4379. Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS that you can't pay? Call now for immediate help. 800-910-8236. At Community Tax Relief, we help consumers like you. If you take on the IRS alone, you could be facing levies, liens, even wage garnishments, personal or business tax issues. If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more, they will aggressively come after you. Protect yourself and your family today from what the IRS can do to you. Call now. 800-910-8236. They can freeze your bank account, even garnish your wages. Our expert team of tax professionals can solve your tax problems once and for all. Call now for a free 5-minute tax debt analysis. 800-910-8236. 800-910-8236. 800-910-8236. Are you worried about losing your home to foreclosure? If you've been threatened with foreclosure or received legal papers from your bank, you have approximately 30 days to respond. If you do not respond, you could lose your home. You have rights. Act now to protect your rights. you can stay in your home. Many times you can even modify your loan. The bottom line is you can get past this, but you must act right now. Call National Foreclosure Defense right now at 800-917-2120, 800-917-2120. If you've been served by your bank and you're worried about losing your home to foreclosure, now is the time to fight back and save your home. Time is limited, so call right now. 800-917-2120, 800-917-2120. Call the professionals at National Foreclosure Defense right now. 800-917-2120.
Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT weather is brought to you by TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. Get half off deals from local businesses when you visit TwinTiersDollarSaver.com. As we head into the evening, get ready, partly cloudy. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 20s. Tuesday should be a mostly sunny day with a high of around 50. Get ready, mostly cloudy and milder. Tuesday night, a low 36. Wednesday looks to be a partly to mostly sunny day with a high of around 60. Again, overnight, a low in the mid to upper 20s. And I'm Chief Forecaster Rod Tanner on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
It's feeding time at the Cage. This is Olean's only local sports talk show. Call in right now at 716-376-WVTT or email us at cage@colonialme.com. This is the Cage, only on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
Here on a Manic Monday, the Mouth, the Cage, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. Before we go, I got a few minutes here before the CBS break. I got to get to this important email from a listener, cage@colonialme.com. Dear Joel, I keep hearing an ad for a sports talk radio show host on the station. Are you leaving already? You've been the best that they've gotten on this local show in a very long time. I hope you're not going anywhere. I really love your show. Mike from Olean. Mike, I'm not going anywhere. I've just barely started here in Olean. I know you guys love your Buffalo Bills, your Buffalo Sabres. I bring the passion before you guys. Just a heads up, man, tomorrow on the show, Jody McDonald joins me, CBS radio host. He'll be joining me to talk some NHL, NFL, all the things going on in the sports world. Then Wednesday, Mark Eisenberg of 640 Sports down in South Florida. He'll be joining me to talk a little bit about that Rich Incognito situation and others goings on, a little bit about the Flyers and whatever else. I just want to thank each and every one of you who listened to the show today, who called in. Tom, the guy, I didn't get his name from Olean, but he called in. He was awesome, asking about the Bills. Remember, you can always get at me on the social media at _ Joel the Mouth, Facebook.com/sportsradio 93.9 WVTT. And a quick reminder, tomorrow, 7 to 9, Sports Radio 93.9 will be live from the Riley Center. St. Bonaventure's Bonnie's Pep Rally. You want to come on down, it's free to the public. The Mouth will be there. We'll be talking Bonnie's basketball, talking to players, coaches, all that. Till tomorrow, see you then. Peace.